Good morning. Today I am making double Gloucester cheese. So excited for this one. I have made it once before. Hang on, let me get the rest of the milk. I just opened it this past week because I wanted to know how it is. It's fabulous. It is like a cheddar cheese. It's very rich and creamy. We had it on crackers and it's fantastic. Gloucester cheese comes from Gloucester cows in England. I don't have Gloucester cows, I have a Jersey. This is Gloucester style cheese. I love these buckets for milking. It's so much easier to clean up. Look, you'll see all the cream come off right at the top. Single Gloucester is made from skimmed milk and double Gloucester is made from the milk with all the cream. Double Gloucester is aged longer, so it gets harder. It is also the cheese that they use in their like competitions or whatever where they roll cheeses. I don't know. Oh, this is about 6.5 gallons, close to 7. Gonna heat the milk to 89 degrees. I'm using freeze-dried culture MA11 for culturing this, just a half teaspoon. You can use other MA cultures though, and a half teaspoon is enough to set 6 to 12 gallons of milk. This is raw milk, so technically I need a little bit less than a half teaspoon because raw milk naturally cultures better than pasteurized milk, so just slightly less. Gonna let that rehydrate for a couple minutes and then I'll stir it in. All right, it's all stirred in. I'm gonna let this rest for 60 minutes and then we'll come back and do the next few steps. It calls for about 32 drops. I'll probably do like 25 because I don't like a super yellow look to my cheese. Ooh, that was a lot. Let's do this slower. 12, 13, 14, 23. I'm gonna stop there because I got a lot in the beginning. And you dilute with a little bit of water. So it looks like this. And it smells kind of vegetable-y or, I don't know, weird. I don't like how it smells. Stir this in. I don't worry too much about stirring it in well because I'm gonna be stirring a bunch when I add the rennet and the calcium chloride. The recipe says to wait 15 minutes before adding the calcium chloride. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it right away. This is not necessary because I'm using raw milk, but I do it anyway just as a precaution. That sometimes helps you get a little bit more of a yield. Stir this in, and now I'm gonna let it rest for 5 minutes before I add the rennet. For the rennet, I'm just gonna add 1.5 teaspoons. And I tend to do it a little bit scant just because I don't think I always need as much as it calls for. Too much rennet can make your cheese rubbery, and people say bitter, though I've never had that problem. I stir this until I start to notice that the milk is getting a little bit more sludgy, or it gets a little bit like as it moves. It doesn't move quite as easily. It usually takes about 45 seconds, maybe a minute. It just kind of like holds its ripple shape. Like ripples, fade out really quick. These ripples just linger a little bit, kind of like when you're stirring a pie filling in the pot and you want it to be thick enough that you draw the spoon through and there's like a trail behind it. You can see the bottom of the pot. That's what this reminds me of. It's just slightly more thick. All right, this is going to set up for 45 minutes. We're gonna see. Oh yeah, this is very much set up. So look how it bounces right there, and you put this in and slice, and it just comes popping right up. That is such a clean break. This is 1/2-inch cubes. I'm gonna go sideways first. And now this is just going to rest for 5 minutes to firm up. I'm gonna stir it for about 15 minutes. And now I'm going to turn the heat on and set the timer for 45 minutes and raise it to 99 degrees. It's dropped from 90 to 86 degrees, so we have to go about 14 degrees. We are at 99 degrees. I had had the heat turned off for part of it because I had to do a few things and somebody was here and blah, blah, blah. So it started out slower and then it finished off still a little bit fast, even on the lowest heat. That's what the curds look like. Pretty loose, pretty soft. There's some bigger ones, but they're pretty even. I'm gonna squeeze it to show you the squeeze test. It holds together, but it's not tight. And that's natural, I think, because this is a mesophilic culture, it's a lower temperature. Thermophilic cheeses would be a higher temperature and they would therefore stick together much, much tighter. It's still not quite done. This is going to now rest undisturbed for 15 minutes, and then we're going to start straining off the whey and doing the cheater's cheddaring process. So let's take a slur. Stop, I'm going to get a new bucket. Set it down, I'm going to get one. So I don't want to dump it all out. Okay, let's sit for a minute. I'm going to do something, set it down. Don't leave me yet. So I'm just expressing some of the whey and pressing on it because I don't think all this will fit in the colander. Okay, let's pour off some of this whey again. But don't go fast because it'll flip out. Set it down again. Now I have this mass of cheese in here. I'm gonna let it rest for 15 minutes and then I'll flip it and let it rest for another 15 minutes. So we're just gonna let this go. So now we're gonna flip this and pour off anyway. Hey, Nicole, come help me in a second, quick. Just real quick, I gotta pour this off. Go ahead, pour, tilt it more.
Can you get the rest out?
It's good, okay. I'm gonna flip this, or attempt to flip this in one piece. And that was not hard at all. I'm gonna press on it just a wee bit. And now we're gonna give it another 15 minutes in this. This next step is that we're gonna cut this into quarters. Ooh, it's kind of hard. And we're gonna stack these on top of each other. This is cheddaring. This process of stacking the cheese up and then flipping it as we go. So right there's the first stack. We'll let this sit for 15 minutes and then we'll come back and reverse it the whole way down. Look how much that stack has shrunk down on itself. So now we're gonna put this on the bottom and start the stack with that one. So skinny, got really smushed. And then this one will be on the top. These slabs get cut into 1/4 inch cubes. This was close to 7 gallons of milk, so I'm gonna do about 7 tablespoons. 1, 2, 7, and this will, not all will get into the mold because it will stick to the pot or come out in the whey. So just milling this together. Still feels warm even though it's a cold day. So these are like spongy and firm. Peel them open, they're like that. They're not really hard, but they squeak. They're really delicious. Gonna wet the cheesecloth first. And then just load these up in. Oh yeah, we got ourselves a big cheese. Oof, this is hard. It's gonna take a lot of pressure to get this together because that it's already been cheddared and because the salt has been already milled in. It makes it a harder press. Plus, it is a mesophilic cheese, so it is colder, which means the curds don't stick together as well. See, here's the salt in the bottom. It didn't all work in and some of the whey already came out. I'm actually gonna pour this in, but it will go down through. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna just do this right around 40, 50, make it a little bit harder. That's a little bit too milky. I'm gonna let it up a little bit. Okay, right there we are at 40. I'll let this go for a few hours and then I will flip it. Little pieces falling off. There's some salt. That's yummy. Tastes buttery. Now it's gonna get pressed super hard. We're doing 70 pounds. It's 4 a.m. This has been pressing for about 9 hours. I'm gonna do another 12. The holes are closing up, it's hard to see. 80 pounds, another 12 hours. Oof. This smells funky now. And it knitted together pretty good. That's kind of a huge cheese. Okay, I'm gonna air dry it for several days. So I got this Gloucester out of the press yesterday evening when I came over from work. It is kind of drying out. You can see the little cracks through there. And over there, there's like a spot that didn't quite go in well. But other than that, it's fine. I wanna weigh it real quick. Wow, it's 8.5 pound cheese almost. This is only 6.5 gallons of milk, so this is a really good yield. I'm going to be doing this cheese as a natural rind. I don't have containers, so I'm gonna just stick it in this food grade bucket, and I have this little plastic thingy that's gonna go on the bottom just to create a little buffer so it doesn't quite stick to the bottom. I'm gonna pop this into here and then flip it every day, and it's probably not gonna work because I'm afraid it's gonna dry out. We'll see how it goes. Oh my goodness, this is not good. Buckets are not the best. There you go. That's my aging thingy, and that is going to go into the downstairs bedroom. I just ordered some Cambros from Webster. Hopefully they'll come and then they'll be much more down the size. Welcome to my cheesy mess. I put it into this container through the week, and this is this aging box. You can see there's moisture developing on the outside there. That needs to be wiped off. I've been turning it daily, or almost daily. It has a little bit of a smell to it, like a little bit of a smell I don't like. When I first made it, it smelled perfectly clean and sweet, so this concerns me just a little bit. It feels dry, or like a clammy handshake, like they say. The downstairs bedroom is actually quite cold. I have the window open and it's like 30 degrees outside. And just plop it back in. And I'm just gonna keep flipping this every day. For a while there, it wasn't doing anything. It was just sitting here and looking ordinary. And suddenly it is getting moldy. This is where it didn't quite knit. It smells funky and cheesy, not that pleasant. This is the light brine that I've been using, 1 tablespoon salt per cup of water. I'm not sure of the balance of when you want it to start getting moldy and keep that mold, or when you want to rub it off. I'm still figuring this out. Kind of wiping it down with this rag to dry it because I don't want it to be too wet when I put it back in. I am conflicted. Do I brine it again or just let it go? I think I'm gonna brine wash it one more time. It doesn't really smell bad. It doesn't really smell like much, actually. I think it needs a little bit more rub than my hands give it. See that bright yellow? I've always heard that bright yellow is bad, but that's just what's under the blue. Oh, this is hard on my hands, it hurts. Such a heavy cheese. So here it is, all cleaned up. You can see there's bright yellow spots, and then there's white there, and I don't know what that is, if that's mildew. You see the moisture on the inside. Maybe I should just wipe that down a little bit. And we'll pop this back in for another week. It is getting quite gnarly. All kinds of gray, funky blue, weird stuff. It's very soft and squishy like that. And these fuzzy things. There's some brown spots there. I'm just gonna give it a good dry rub. Just gonna call that good enough. Whew. Look how dirty that sink is now. All the bits of blue mold all down in there. I'm not even gonna dry rub this one this time. I'm just gonna flip it. I think this mold is not too thick or too weird right now. I'm gonna do another dry rub today with my snazzy new little scrub brush. Smells like a basement, earthy and cold. This is getting to be a pattern. Dishes are never done. You're gonna think we never wash dishes here. But we do, I promise, multiple times a day. Lightly brush it off. Do not know what these patches are. That concerns me. I don't know what that spot is right there. It's kind of a game of who knows. Doing these cheeses, I'm filming multiple ones at the same time. The Raclette, the Gloucester, the Smackard. I have other 2 going on right now, plus another one over here. I feel just slightly in over my head because I haven't done natural rinds aside from the Full Moon Blue. And I don't know what's happening. So this might not be a good idea. I'm filming, y'all.
She's filming.
Nicholas, stop.
I can feel a headache coming on right now.
It's because you're upset. Nicholas, don't move my stuff.
Holy cow!
I'm filming, John. What's the date today? The 14th? Yeah. Double Gloucester, and it is just being flipped. Its mold is under control. It's kind of a little bit sticky. You can see like when I go like this, it's not really coming off on my hands. It's cold down in the cellar today, so there's a lot of condensation. It's feeling a little bit felty and soft, so I'm just going to try to gently brush some of this off. I feel like this brush is too harsh. People have said a vegetable brush, and that's what this is, but I'm concerned that it's too much. The cheese itself feels very firm. See those little patches? I don't know what that means. It's like something's there. It is firm, it is good. I like that feeling. I'm not going to dry rub it. I'm just going to do a regular flip. I love these colors. I think they make a good floor tile. Slate blue and butter yellow. This thing will be ready to eat. There's a slight acetone smell. I don't quite think that's the right word. Good morning. We are going to go get the double Gloucester and taste it. It smells like pee-filled cloth diapers. Back when I had little kids, we used cloth diapers and they were in a bucket and they would, you know, after a few days smell pretty rank. Here it is. This one right here. It's pretty darn yucky. Let's take it up and see. Actually, that ammonia smell has dissipated a little bit. I flipped it yesterday, so it doesn't smell quite as bad. I wonder if that white mold that was coming up on the bottom is the ammonia. Yeah, that smells more like it. So this white mold is making the ammonia smell. It's getting sticky. You can see that on my hands. This is a little bit more dryish. Like I can't brush it. It's way too wet for that. I guess I just scrape it off. I don't know. I'm kind of worried it's going to be gross on the inside. It's beautiful. I mean, I love how it looks. It actually doesn't smell as bad as it did yesterday. So maybe yesterday's smelling was just like, because, I don't know, I hadn't flipped it for a couple days. It got too wet. I don't know. Everything I've read about ammonia is in conjunction with brie. Like if your brie smells like ammonia, then you need to do this. I can't find any information about hard cheeses that smell like ammonia. From the reading I've been doing, I'm beginning to think that aging my cheeses in these boxes is making it be too high in humidity. I don't know what the humidity level is because I'm not testing it. So I think natural rind, dry aged, not washed rind, but natural rind cheeses need to have lower humidity, more air circulation, and I can't do that in these boxes. That's my theory. I can do washed rinds just fine. You can check out the raclette cheese that I did, but I can't do natural rind. Anyway, let's figure out what to do with this. What do? I'm gonna just scrape it all off. Here's the gross yuckies. This darker yellow is the color of the cheese underneath. I feel like I need a machete. So I'm gonna try cutting down on the side and seeing if that's a better way to cut off. Like not even scrape, just kind of cut. Feels like I'm wasting the cheese. How about attempting a vegetable peeler? That actually is not a bad idea. Jennifer, not a bad idea. This is actually brilliant. You may now applaud me. The things you never thought you use a vegetable peeler for. It does not smell good. I smell ammonia. Oh dear. I'm looking for something that's not like a nubby on the end. So I could like, the other one has this, like these ends that come down deeper. All right, knife in it. Come on, baby, come on off. I've learned that natural rinds, the cheese itself has such a fantastic paste. It is quite different from Vac-packed cheeses. Much more firm but creamy. None of that elasticy rubberiness. Y'all are probably like, this is so not worth it, Jennifer. Why are you doing this? Well, friends, because I'm a little bit crazy. These are the things I do to entertain myself. What do you do to entertain yourself? Watch people make fools of themselves on YouTube. Uh-oh. I'm scared. It has a mouth. Maybe this is like a whole black blob on the inside. Bum ba dum bum bum, drum roll. You wanna see? You wanna see? It smells good on the inside. It looks like a cheddar with the lines. It's harder. So the outside is softer. Right here, all around, that's like a lighter yellow and it's softer. It's gummy. And this is like a firmer double Gloucester. So here's the inside. It smells good. It's really good. It's really creamy and soft. There's nothing bitter. There's no ammonia. That's nice. All right, so I'm gonna taste the edge. Yeah. This is much more like soft and squishy. It doesn't really stink. I'm scared. There's no weird flavor. No, it tastes nice. What? How'd that happen? It tastes almost more the texture of a Colby, and the inside is more like a texture of a creamy cheddar. So, cool. So I think that means, I'm gonna show how much I don't know. But I think that means that the molds were eating the bacteria or doing something to it that was breaking down the stuff in the something around the edge, and it hadn't worked its way through. Like if you let this go longer, it would mean that the cheese would get softer as you go. So I don't understand then why you would age a cheese for 6 months. Like, is this gonna change? Like, I want this inside texture. I like this. Here's some Vac-packed double Gloucester. It's cold from the fridge, so it's gonna be harder. It's always a little bit wet in the bag. Color's different, but that could be that I had more Annatto in this one. The Vac-packed one has a little bit of a funk to it, a little bit of a tang. It's brighter, it's sharper, it's crumbly, just like this one, I think, but it feels crumblier. This one is creamier and softer. I would say like the dryness factor is pretty similar. Like they're the same level of moisture content. This one is a little bit creamier though, but it could be also because it's room temperature. In some ways, this Vac-packed one is more exciting, like a little bit more unique, more pungent. Well, I didn't expect that. I expected this one to be pungent and more unusual. You know what this one is? It just tastes like a mild cheddar. Super pleasing and kind and amicable with everybody. If cheeses were people, this one's a little bit more cantankerous, a little fussy, a little bit, you know, high maintenance, like has some abrasive qualities that not everybody will agree with. And this one is just like, hey, I'm half rotted to death and I just go with the flow. I may have been home alone too long. Oh, it's good with crackers. Okay, I'm eating a little bit of the mold here.
Yum, yum.
Nicholas, I'm filming. It has like that earthy, basement-y flavor, slightly, but very mild. I don't think people would notice it at all. Look at that. There's mold on the inside of that. So that's what happens when there's a crack in the cheese. Look at that, fuzzy, fuzzy. Yeah, that to me is definitely not okay. So we're gonna just hack that off. Split this open right here. Ooh, it's getting blue in there. That's not good. Yeah, there's no way I want to eat that. So it's a little bit wasteful doing a natural rind cheese, and I'm not sure the flavor was that much better. All these pieces are scraps. So how much cheese have I lost? Okay, let's find out how much I'm wasting. See how much this weighs, and then I'll empty it. Right now it's 3 pounds, 13 ounces. It's a goodly amount of cheese. Scraps. Not sure I like that. 1 pound, 11 ounces. That is 2 pounds, 2 ounces of cheese that I threw out. So is it worth it to do these natural rind cheeses if you have to cut off so much and lose that much cheese? I don't know yet. In this case of this cheese, I don't think so. I have one piece left here. A friend is coming and wants to try this. Now I gotta label everything, and then it's to the cheese cave.